That's right. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes. For the next few minutes, I'd like you to imagine with me what the world is going to be like in 50 years. Let's flash forward to 2068, Detroit, Michigan, a city that even a half-century later is still known as the Detroit Rock City, Motown, Motor City, Paris of the Midwest, Detroit. But a lot's changed in 50 years. 3D hologram phones, robots on the streets. But don't get it twisted. Detroit does not look like a RoboCop movie. In fact, that comeback that we started way back in the first part of the 21st century had never stopped, thanks to bold, clever actions taken by Detroit of 2018, whose leaders and residents believed in big things and inspired every single generation after them. Now, if you remember what life was like in Detroit in 2018, there's really two major differences between then and now. The first is how Detroit looks in 2068. Detroit has grown from nearly 700,000 people to 4 million in 2068. People come from all over the world for jobs in artificial intelligence, mobility, and robotics. And as density has grown, our skyline has grown. The Renaissance Center now looks up at 7 other buildings. And Detroit's new building boom, which started way back in 2018 with the development of the Hudson site and the train station. This new building boom wasn't inspired by Detroit's industrial past. It was inspired by Detroit's sustainable future. For example, repurposed landfill waste is now a very popular building material. So we literally have turned the city's trash into cash. Another really, really cool thing, skyscrapers are no longer just for people. Vertical farms growing cash crops take up a fraction of the land and water. Takeaway from how Detroit looks, we're healthy and we're wealthy. And the second thing that you'll notice is how Detroit moves in 2068. Now, way back in 2018, folks thought Metro Detroit would be driverless. The truth is we're not. We love driving too much. Most roads still allow drivers and autonomous vehicles to share the road together. But it's at slower speeds, and drivers only get one lane. Plus, there's heavy taxes on empty seats and fuel. The truth is, it's inefficient and expensive to own a vehicle in 2068. So, autonomous vehicles have become the primary mode of transportation for most Metro Detroiters. And the fastest, cheapest way to get around is through mobility subscription plans. These plans, sold by GM, Ford, Uber, and Amazon, give everyone access to autonomous vehicles, e-rickshaws, e-scooters, and e-bikes. You see, way back in 2018, leaders and residents realized that the best way to fight congestion, accidents, rising costs, was to redesign Detroit's streets so that people come first and vehicles come second. That means providing more transport options and moving traffic above ground or below ground. Here, I'll show you. For example, Jefferson Avenue in downtown Detroit, 10 lanes of traffic moved underground. Well-lit tunnels, no red lights, and on the surface, streams from clean water runoff that was elevated and exposed next to green space. Let's travel a little further north. Midtown Detroit. Cass Avenue no longer has lanes. Autonomous vehicles and residents live together in harmony, trusting each other's next move. And streets like Cass are a lot busier, but a lot quieter. No sirens, no car horns. Most of the vehicles are electric, with charging stations embedded in the pavement. Now let's talk more about the autonomous vehicles themselves. Always on the road, nonstop, maybe a break here and there at a vehicle nest along the interstate. These vehicles, many of them have basic amenities, but some are cafes, daycares, and gyms on the go. Some have sleek, modern curves. Others have that old school, cool, backseat comfort, 1970s Cadillac feel. When your vehicle arrives, it senses your mood and your preferences. Actually, wearable technologies will have come a long way, in a sense that they will have disappeared under your wedding ring and your earrings, charged by solar power and body heat. In Eastern Market, the sheds are busy all day, every day. And so to keep up with customers, vendors not only take cash and card, but they also sync with your wearables so you can get what you need and walk right out using blockchain-secured methods. And so what I want to tell you today is that this world is coming, and we have an opportunity to play a huge role in it. Detroit has also become a world leader in urban air transit. Many people call them flying cars. These small electric aircrafts take off and land vertically all over Metro Detroit. They've turned a 2-hour commute from Ann Arbor into a 10-minute flight. Imagine leaving work and pressing a floor higher than where you left and meeting your Uber on the roof. Many repurposed highway bridges will serve as air hubs for landing and charging of these flying cars. Pretty cool, right? And so all of these different mobility options, whether by land or by air, will make Detroit the world's leader, not only in the transportation industry, but as one of the best cities in the world just to simply get around. So in closing, I want to tell you about Hyperloop. DTW will not only be an airport, it will be a major stop along the American Hyperloop line. This levitating train will glide at airline speed through vacuum tubes. It'll get you from Detroit to Chicago in 25 minutes. Grand Rapids, 15 minutes. Folks, the year 2068 is not something future Detroiters will enter. It is something today's Detroiters will create. Every single idea and technology I've shared with you today is already in development somewhere on Earth. We can actually do this. We can do all of these things, and it will still be easier than our first act, which was putting the world on wheels. And so I say to the Detroiters of 2018, be bold, try big things, because the year 2068 will belong to the city that prepares for it best. Thank you very much, everybody.